What if you woke up tomorrow and nothing in your life was the same? Your room is familiar, but slightly off. Your clothes aren't where they should be. Your phone is full of numbers you don't recognize. You drive to work, only to find your office isn't where it's supposed to be. Your job title has changed. Your coworkers don't remember you. And when you finally get home, the man you broke up with 6 months ago is standing in your kitchen, acting like everything is normal. And your current boyfriend, he's gone, like he never existed. This is not fiction. This is the real story of Lorena Garcia, a Spanish woman who claims that one day in 2008, she woke up in a different version of her life. Some called her delusional, others a victim of trauma. But to this day, Lorena insists she's not crazy. She didn't forget anything. She simply shifted into another reality. Could her case be proof of a glitch in reality or a rare glimpse into the multiverse? It started like any other morning. Lorena Garcia woke up in her cozy Madrid apartment just as she had hundreds of times before. The morning light poured in through the curtains. Birds chirped outside. Everything seemed normal until it wasn't. She stretched her arms and looked around the bedroom, and something felt off. The bed sheets were a different color. The arrangement of the furniture, not quite right. Even the pajamas she was wearing didn't match what she remembered putting on the night before. Maybe she was groggy. Maybe she'd had a strange dream. She shrugged it off and walked into the kitchen. That's when she noticed more changes. Appliances were in the wrong places. Her coffee mugs, the ones she always kept in the bottom cabinet, were now in the top shelf. And her car keys were sitting on the opposite side of the table than where she left them. Confused but still rationalizing, Lorena told herself she must be having a foggy morning. Maybe she'd reorganized and forgotten. Maybe stress was getting to her. She made her way to the office, but what she encountered there was far more disturbing than a few moved items. She pulled into the same parking lot, entered the same building, only to find that her name was no longer listed on the employee directory. Her department, the one she had worked in for over 20 years, was gone. The manager didn't recognize her. The HR department had no record of her ever transferring or even applying for the position she clearly remembered holding. She walked from office to office, floor to floor, desperate to find someone who could validate her reality. But everyone stared at her like a stranger. Lorena began to panic. Was she having a breakdown? Had she forgotten her entire life? No, her memories were crystal clear. She knew who she was, where she lived, who she worked with, who she was in love with. Or at least, she thought she did, because the further her day went on, the more the world around her seemed to say, "You don't belong here." And this was only the beginning. As Lorena stood in the middle of the office building, the one she had walked into every day for years, a creeping sense of dread washed over her. This was her workplace. She knew every corner, every hallway, every name tag. But now it was like walking through a replica, one that looked almost right, but felt deeply wrong. Her department was no longer on the second floor. Her office gone. She checked again, then again. But the familiar faces she expected to see were nowhere to be found. When she finally asked to speak with human resources, the woman behind the desk gave her a patient, almost pitying smile. "I'm sorry. What was your name again?" Lorena spelled it out. No records, no employment file, no history with the company. Lorena's voice cracked. She insisted she had been working there for 2 decades. She rattled off names, dates, department heads, office codes. She even described her previous manager in detail, from the way he parted his hair to his peculiar habit of tapping his pen 3 times before speaking. But the woman in HR just stared at her, blank. "I think maybe you've made a mistake," she said. By now, Lorena was shaking. She left the building and sat in her car for what felt like hours. Was she dreaming? Was she losing her mind? She pinched her arm, slapped her cheek. Everything was vivid, real, tangible. But nothing around her matched the life she remembered. And deep down, a terrifying possibility began to take root. She hadn't forgotten her life. It had changed. Exhausted and overwhelmed, Lorena drove home. Hoping that maybe her partner, her boyfriend of 7 months, could make sense of all this. She parked, climbed the stairs to her apartment, and opened the door. Inside was a man, but not just any man. It was her ex-boyfriend, the one she had broken up with 6 months ago. He was standing in the kitchen, smiling as if nothing had changed, like he belonged there. Lorena froze. He asked her if she was okay, said she looked pale. Then he leaned in to kiss her. Her heart nearly stopped. This wasn't possible. They had ended things. They had gone their separate ways. He had moved out. But here he was, cooking in her kitchen, asking what she wanted for dinner. Shaking, Lorena asked him, "Where's Felipe?" He blinked. "Who?" "Felipe, my boyfriend." Her ex looked confused. "Lorena, you haven't seen Felipe in years." She stumbled back, tears filling her eyes. In this world, this version of her life, Felipe didn't exist. Their relationship never happened. All the memories, the dates, the laughter, gone. She checked her phone. No messages, no photos, no trace of the man she had loved for months. But her ex, he had texts, shared bills, photos from recent vacations that she had no memory of taking. Lorena began to feel like a ghost inside her own body, a stranger living someone else's life. And the most terrifying part? No one else seemed to notice anything was wrong. In the days that followed, Lorena did everything she could to understand what was happening to her. She saw a psychiatrist who ran cognitive tests, brain scans, memory exercises. All results came back normal. She wasn't delusional. She wasn't hallucinating. She was perfectly sane. And still, she insisted this wasn't her life. She hired a private investigator to look for Felipe, to see if maybe he existed somewhere out there. But every trail went cold. No records, no social media, no mutual friends. It was like he had been erased or had never been real to begin with. She called her family. Her sister picked up, but didn't recall the long conversation they had just had the week before. Their mother remembered different childhood events than Lorena did. Family photos were the same, but somehow different. The more she searched, the more the world seemed to reject the version of life she remembered. Lorena even posted her story online, desperate for someone, anyone, to say they had experienced the same thing. And slowly, they did. People from around the world responded, telling eerily similar stories. "I woke up and my job was gone. My husband didn't recognize me. My city had streets that were never there before. My scar disappeared overnight. My mother remembered my childhood differently." It wasn't proof. It wasn't closure. But for Lorena, it meant she wasn't alone. There were others like her. People who believed they had slipped sideways into a reality that looked like home, but wasn't. When Lorena's story first surfaced online, the internet exploded with theories. Some called it a textbook case of dissociative amnesia, a psychological condition where the brain, under extreme stress or trauma, represses and rewrites parts of memory, replacing them with constructed narratives to protect the mind. Maybe, they argued, Lorena was overworked. Maybe she suffered a nervous breakdown. Maybe Felipe was just a figment of a desperate imagination. But there was a problem with that explanation. Lorena's memories were too consistent. She could recall full conversations, birthdays, even the exact scent of her supposed boyfriend's cologne. All fabricated, all imagined. For some, that was too hard to believe. Others turned to neurology. Could this have been a rare case of a mini stroke or a seizure in the hippocampus disrupting her memory banks? Doctors found no evidence, no scarring, no neural abnormalities. Her brain was healthy. So the next wave of theorists asked something more terrifying. What if she didn't forget her reality, but left it? Welcome to the dimensional shift hypothesis. According to this idea, our universe is not the only one. Instead, we live in a multiverse, an endless web of parallel realities, each one just slightly different. Some differences are minor, a color, a street name. Others are massive, like entire relationships, careers, even identities. And sometimes, for reasons no one fully understands, people slip between them. Not through wormholes or sci-fi portals, but in sleep, in moments of trauma, or even randomly, Proponents of this theory point to similar stories around the world. People waking up in homes they don't remember buying, remembering celebrities dying when they're still alive, recalling books and logos just slightly differently. The so-called Mandela effect is filled with these eerie inconsistencies. What if Lorena didn't imagine Felipe? What if he existed, just not here? What if while she slept, some unseen cosmic mechanism reset her, not mentally but physically, into a neighboring version of Earth? A version where she never met Felipe, never switched apartments, never lived the life she remembers. And if that's the case, what's stopping it from happening again? What's stopping it from happening to you? Time passed, weeks became months, and Lorena Garcia remained stuck in a life that wasn't hers. She tried everything: therapy, hypnosis, even spiritual counseling. Each professional gave her the same answer: this is your life. You just don't remember it correctly. But Lorena didn't forget anything. She remembered too much. She remembered Felipe's voice, the weekend trip to Granada, the argument they had about moving in together. She remembered the text message he sent the night before she shifted, saying, "Sweet dreams, mi amor. I'll see you in the morning." But when morning came, he was gone. So was the message, and everyone insisted he had never existed. She clung to fading hope that maybe one day she'd go to sleep and wake up back in her reality, that this world, this wrong version of her life, was just temporary. But it wasn't. Lorena has now spent over a decade in this strange reflection of her life. The ex-boyfriend she broke up with? He still believes they're happily together. Her job? Still unfamiliar, but she's adapted. Her memories? Still crystal clear, but now a secret she carries alone. She no longer talks about Felipe. No one believes her. Most think she suffered a psychotic break and recovered well enough. But when she stares into the mirror at night, there's a look in her eyes that says, "I don't belong here." She says the world feels close, like a replica, but it lacks something. The air smells different. The light bends differently through her window. The faces of old friends have a strange tightness, like they're wearing their memories instead of living them. And she still wonders, what did I do to deserve this? Was it a punishment, a glitch, an accident? Or is this happening to others? When Lorena shared her story online, she expected silence. But instead, dozens, then hundreds of people reached out with their own uncanny tales. They all had one thing in common: they never went back. So if Lorena truly did shift realities, then she may be trapped here, permanently, living out someone else's life, in a world that never should have been hers. What if Lorena Garcia wasn't the only one? What if somewhere in the world, right now, someone is waking up and realizing that their reality has shifted? Their home looks the same, but their family behaves strangely. Their dog doesn't respond to its name. The books on their shelf have different endings. Or worse, someone they love is simply gone, erased by a universe that never included them. And if it hasn't happened to you, how would you even know? Think about it. Have you ever remembered something no one else recalls? A conversation that others swear never happened? A location you knew existed until suddenly it didn't? Could it be déjà vu? A faulty memory? Or could it be the moment your reality began to shift? In the case of Lorena Garcia, she never got an answer. No warning, no portal, no science, no closure. Just a different world. And the question now is, what would you do if it happened to you? Would you notice the change? Would you try to go back? Or would you, like Lorena, be forced to adapt and live a life that was never meant to be yours? If this story made you question your reality, you're not alone. Subscribe to our channel because we're just getting started. We explore stories like this every week. Mysteries that blur the line between the real and the impossible. Hit the bell so you never miss what might be your new favorite rabbit hole. And remember, reality may not be as stable as you think. The shift could happen to anyone, even you.